Hello, corporate finance class. This is your online instructor, Diana Block. And for your week 5 problems, I want to go over some examples. And for an example of your first module problem is problem 16.1 from your textbook. So over here on this side of the screen, I've just got the textbook open. And so I'm looking at problem 16.1, which is going to be very similar to your first module problem for your homework assignment for this week. And I want to show you how I'm going to go through these calculations. And I'm just going to put these calculations on a sheet of paper. And you can use Excel, of course. I've talked about how to use Excel. And there's other tools that you can also use to do the calculations for you. But I'm just going to kind of show you writing out what I'm going to use in order to solve this particular problem on a sheet of paper. So this problem tells us we're going to consider a project that is going to either have cash flows of 130,000 or 180,000. We don't know which one, and they're equally likely. The initial investment is $100,000 and cost of capital is 20%. Our risk-free rate is 10%. So we're supposed to calculate the NPV of the project. So we can do that. But first we need to calculate an expected cash flow. We're talking about 1 year from now, and we can only enter one amount as the year one cash flow, and it tells us it's either going to be 130,000 or 180,000. So what we're going to do is get the expected cash flow, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to say our expected cash flow is 1/2 of 130,000 plus 180,000. This is going to effectively give us an weighted average expected cash flow. So we're going to take the two potential amounts that it could be, add them together, and then take half of that, and that's going to be our expected cash flow. So the expected cash flow that I'm going to use to calculate NPV is going to end up being, in this case, $155,000. So that's what I'm going to use as my cash flow. And then our cost of capital, we're told, is 20%. And the only information we have is that this is a 1-year project. So using that information, we can go ahead and calculate NPV. So as you know by now, there's a few different ways to calculate NPV. And most of you probably are using Excel, and that's great. I love Excel. But you can calculate this without Excel. There's other tools. I like this calculator here. If you go to financeformulas.net, they have a very easy calculator that you can use without having to do any Excel programming or no formulas. So we're going to use this tool for this example. And so our discount rate, we're told, is 20%. Our initial investment, we were told, was $100,000. And our year one cash flow, we just calculated as $155,000. So let me make sure I have my zeros correct. And so using this tool, after I have my information in, I just press enter, and it tells me that my NPV is 29,166 and 67 cents. So this is a tool you can use to calculate NPV even if you don't use Excel. And again, that was at financeformulas.net, and then just look through the calculators and you'll find that tool there online for you. So now we know what the NPV is. Part B says that, oh, here we go. So we need to raise funds for this initial project, and the project is sold to investors in an all-equity fund, so the equity shareholders are going to receive cash flows. How much money can we raise in this way? What's the initial market value of the unlevered equity? So to get a solution to part B, what we're going to do is take the amount of cash flow that we are going to have in year one, and then we're just going to divide that by 1.2 because our cost of capital is 20%. So we're looking at 1.2 as our denominator. So here's what I'm saying. We're going to take 155. This is our cash flow divided by 1.2. That's going to tell us our equity value. And that comes out to 129,167. So that would be our answer for part B if we were trying to get how much money can be raised this way. And remember, your question will be a little bit different, have some different amounts, but you're going to plug it in and follow the same format in order to solve it. So part C says, well, what if our initial investment is raised by borrowing, and it's borrowing at the interest-free, at the risk-free rate, and we're told that the risk-free rate up here was 10%. So then the question is, what are the cash flows of the levered equity, and what's the initial value according to MM? So of course, if the $100,000 is raised through equity, then there's going to be debt payments, and the debt payments is going to be $100,000. There's also going to be some interest payments, so we aren't going to deal with the interest payments in this problem, but we know that there is going to be an interest payment of $10,000 because the debt is at 10%. So that's just a side note. Which means how much cash flow is going to go to equity? It depends. If we have that $130,000 cash flow, then 20,000 will go to equity because 100,000 of that cash flow will be the debt payment, 10,000 will be interest payment, and the remaining 20,000 will go to equity. If we have this $180,000 cash flow, which was equally likely, then we'll still have 100,000 to the debt payments and 10,000 to interest payments, which means there'll be 70,000 that'll go towards equity. So as you can see, we didn't have to use Excel. This is just kind of a problem that you can walk through. And so I wanted to provide you with this information and also that tool of financeformulas.net. I'm going to talk about the other problems in separate videos, so stay tuned. And if you have any questions about this or any of the other problems, be sure to give me a call or send me an email. Thanks.